Sorry for that. I accidentally pulled the wiper washer, and then the headlamp washer also comes out, and I messed it up. Incidentally, there is an A7 over here, the old one. Okay, I still love how this car looks, man. I still really like how it looks, but then of course this one is reminiscent of this, apart from quite a few lines they have taken out and changed. Okay, most notably the shoulder line that runs all the way and cuts down, and then the tail line from the bumper here that just goes up like that. They've changed it. Now here, look at this one. Alright, the new A7, it shares the platform with A6 of course, and then this headlamp is very famous about a month ago because Audi actually uses the front end of the A7 on the front end of the RS6 now. Okay, but what makes the A7 special is actually the rear lights. Okay, this one single stripe that looks really good. Okay, and of course you still have the rear spoiler, and then you have the big rear hatch at the back. Alright, so that's how the new A7 looks now. I would say this is less experimental compared to the previous A7. It's more acceptable form factor now that the A7 has made this form factor really famous. And do you notice one thing? This now seems like a direct competitor to the Panamera. Of course, at way lower prices, but hey, the base Panamera has 330 horsepower. This one has 340 horsepower. Okay, both are 3-liter turbocharged. This one has more room at the back, more comfortable at the back, and of course Panamera evokes a more luxurious or more upmarket brand image. And arguably the Panamera is more handsome, but that is to each other's liking. But overall, in terms of how the car is going to be utilized and attracts to which segment of consumers, they fight the same market. And this one doesn't lose out in anything apart from extreme handling. Alright, maybe the Panamera will out-handle this, but then the new Audis, they all handle really well. Yep, that's the A7. So like I mentioned just now, there are so many things that you will discover along the way throughout the ownership of this car. I just discovered something. Just now I was adjusting the aircon fan speeds like that. Okay, now this screen is always on, so anytime you can just adjust them. So that's a good thing. I just noticed this thing. Let's say, are you going to do that every time? Not fast enough, right? Right? Yeah, you saw that, right? So what you can do, you can slide this out. At first I was like, what? Just to cover the button? No, you slide it out and then you can do, look at that. Same goes to this, you can slide it out. Interesting, right? Yep. That's what I found out just now. I want to show you guys one thing. Audi has thoroughly went through the redesign of their how the interior works. You see, normally European cars, they have the dials over here, right? Look at this one. And this button just feels so high quality, and then it toggles in between like that. You know, I mean, why can't other car makers do that? You know, it's just so logical, so nice to touch. All these buttons feels really good. Damn, it's just overall very nice. This one, of course, is very. There's so much stuff's being crammed in there, just like the others. But what I want to say is, just, all these buttons just feels fantastic, right? Yeah, man. Same thing with all that. That's the same with the A6. Oh, I forgot, because it looks like they're identical in here. I'm in the A7 actually. To prove that I'm in the A7, since everything is identical. Look, Ma, no door frames, frameless doors. Everything else is identical to the A6. Okay, again, let's blast up the air conditioning. Woo. Woo. You can do that. Alright, let's go drive. Again, a quick shout out to Audi Satya Alam. Oh, look at that. New cars arriving. That's the brand new facelifted Audi Q3. I think we're the first to see it over here. Later I'll go review it. Right? So today I brought the new team members of Horizon out on a day whereby they all get to experience the new A8, A7, A6, A5, Q7, Q8, Q3, Q2, A4, A3, everything. Now, if you do not know about it, Audi Satya Alam here has the full range of brand new Audis that were globally launched, and they're all here now. They've even ordered the RS5, they've ordered the RS6. All these are coming in, yep, for your enjoyment, full-fledged. And the A7, this is a 3-liter turbocharged version, 500 Newton meters of 340 horsepower, and is only 20,000 ringgit more than the equivalent A6. Do you A7 or A6 if it is only 20,000 difference? Now this car feels sharper to drive than the A6, right? It reacts to the road more. It's the kind of my liking, whereby it's not so insulated from everything. It's a sportier tune. Does it have a tight turning circle? Damn, man. I really suspect these cars have rear wheel steering, even though I don't think they have. But oh crap, I just flew my phone over to the other side of the car. Yeah. Phone, where are you? I'm someone who never drops my phone. Crap. Okay, anyway, put it back in my pocket. The thing with Audis, right, you can't really find things whereby they were trying to cut costs or do something that is ergonomically wrong. Case in point, you come up from an A6, you go into an E-Class. E-Class footwell is so tight, right? You don't even have a proper footrest in the car. Mercedes totally forgotten about it. Audi, you won't have this kind of issues. You know, this is proper sitting position, very, very comfortable. The seats, the ergonomics, everything is just there. The solidity of the build, the buttons, the level of when you touch the buttons, when you press them, everything just feels so substantial. Nothing shakes, nothing wiggles. Everything just feels high quality, very, very high quality. In fact, this puts a big question mark on Porsches actually. I don't think there's anything inside here that Porsche does better apart from extreme handling. None. It's way better build, easier to use, even though both are not considered as easy to use infotainment screens because it's so complicated, so many things in there, so high tech. Alright, let's go for a drive. Love the way this car pulls. Okay. Yes, it definitely reacts to the road much more than the A6. Has a distinct character to it. Even though the interior looks exactly the same, I would have wished they did some changes to the interior. At least it's not 99.99% identical genetically. No, if it's genetically, it's alright. This is visually identical. Okay, yes, the pedals are satin chrome, so the pedals have a cold touch to it, higher quality pedals than the pure plastic ones in the A6. And this engine just revs, man. This engine just, oof. So easy to drive fast in an Audi. You won't feel that the car is pulling you to one side or making you nervous, or having a steering wheel that is too twitchy, too fast, or a suspension that is too hard. None of the errors, none of those problems. Audis are made for people who can't drive, and they can become superheroes in driving. I mean, basically, so easy to drive fast, so easy to extract performance out of an Audi, and it keeps you out of trouble. It has the speed that gets you into trouble from the police, and it also has the speed and handling to get you out of it. Yeah. Audis. Reminds me why I like Audis so much. They just don't seem to do anything wrong. Nothing wrong. Yeah. Oh my god. So quick, so comfortable. Now, is it more comfortable than the A6? No, the A6 insulates you out of all these road imperfections, the undulations and all that. But the A7 lets you feel it. And I actually prefer this type of suspension. Same goes if you give me a car that insulates me from everything versus a car that, like this. I mean, I'll always pick something like that because it just makes you feel better. Nah, it's a personal preference. I prefer it this way, but not jarring. Okay, let's not go into jarring rides. Like certain cars. Let's put it the G20 330i, for example. I mean, it's on the verge or at the edge of how I can accept it, but very merely so. You know, it's actually considered jarring for a lot of people. For me, I'm still fine, but it concerns me. This one is just nice, just nice. I like how that's a bit oversensitive, right? I'm still about a foot away. Alright, but this is not registered as a demo car yet, so it's just with delivery mileage, very new. Yep. I like this car. I like this one quite a bit. Okay, let me park it nicely just in case the next person won't go into the curb. Let's follow the curvature of the curbs. Yep. Okay. Yep, that's the A7. 20,000 ringgit more than the A6. 600,000 ringgit. Worth it? Let's go check out the back seats. Okay, first thing I realized or I noticed is because they need to put the mechanism for the rear hatch, there's not much of an extension. They can push the rear, do I call it D pillar or C pillar now, since that this is the hatchback. Okay, I have about 1 finger less headroom than the A6, and the seat back is noticeably more upright. And then let's release this. Same armrest, which just has a very plush carpeted interior for your phone. Since my Samsung dropped on the floor just now, let's give it some pamper. Okay, very plush. Very plush. This is just weird. I don't understand this part. Does it have like a secret code to open it to reveal cup holders, or what's going on? I do not know. Do check with Audi when you order your A6 or A7. Just ask them about this. I'm sure there is a way to spec cup holders with it. Okay, and you have ISOFIX over here. Generally it's spacious. You know, I get a palm. There's a lot of room here. The air conditioning vents are slanted and point upwards so that the air travels upwards. You can control the temperature over there. 4-zone climate control. You get aircon vents over here. You don't get rear blinds over here. Everything just feels great. Slanted, can put bottles. Audi never ever got that wrong. Okay, that's Audi's interior ergonomics are very, very good. Okay, so yep, that's about it. That's the dashboard that looks exactly identical to the other car's dashboard, which is the A6. Still very high quality, very nice, very comfortable. Yeah, cheers.